Alright guys, so we just came back from finishing the Quarry. And of course, what do I think about the Quarry? I hate it. I hate the game. It's terrible. It's bad. The story is bad. The characters are bad. The entire premise for the story is trash, right? Jacob basically destroys or sabotages the car that they use, that they need to get out of the campsite. Because they're camp counselors and summer's over, blah, blah, blah. So Jacob's the reason why they all have to stay at the log cabin and risk getting killed by a bunch of werewolves, right? That's the entire story. And man, dude, the freaking characters, for one, these are like autistic, millennial archetypes, character designs, personalities. Not really Zoomer. I mean, Zoomer would be a lot more autistic and a lot more unbearable, that's for sure. But whatever it comes down to, man, I hated these characters. Oh my gosh. It's like, you know, when I was playing this game, and I was saying this in another video, I was like, okay, this story and these characters, for one, it's like you've been here before. I've said that about the Acolyte trailer, where they do these things where you can just tell, okay, that's from a different movie. That's from a different video game. That's from this other product over here, that other product over there. These different scenes, these certain tropes, these little stimuli that they throw into their story to get you hooked. And it's like, I know what you guys are doing. I know that someone's already done this before, and you're trying to ride the coattails of what someone else, much more successful than yourself, what they created, and what is immediately iconic by their work, because it's their work, their labor, that fruited its merits. But you don't know what the frick you're doing, and you don't even know what the frick you're making. Anyways, these characters are insanely cringy. I cannot stand the characters in the Quarry. I mean, Jacob makes some of the dumbest freaking jokes throughout the game. Nick, Dylan, Ryan, Caitlin. Okay, sorry. The women, different story on them. But the dudes, the writer is such a freaking simp. A freaking loser dude who doesn't think like a masculine guy. He thinks in a way where you have to constantly deprecate yourself. That's the way that you become likable to people. That's the way that you, in some weird way, I guess women find you more likable, when you completely deprecate yourself. And also, by the way, the other thing that's so stupid with this story is that they always act like, for one, they're horny baiting the freaking women to the guys at random times. 1 second the girls aren't into the guys, then 1 second the girls are into the guys. It's like these girls, right, they're being written to have a different association with these dudes every 4 seconds. The writers don't know how they want these characters to like each other, how they want the men to like the girls, and blah, blah, blah. And of course, they have to throw in a gay guy and a bisexual guy, which if you're bisexual, you're freaking gay. So they have 2 gay characters, freaking A. And by the way, the women are absolute whores. You start the freaking story with Laura, who has a boyfriend, and then later in the game, she starts hitting on freaking Ryan. Laura, you massive whore. You have a boyfriend. Stop it. But it's, of course, they're trying to push the freaking race mixing crap with Ryan's character because he's an inconspicuous black guy. No one really knows if this guy's exactly black or not, but he's like passable black. Anyways, they just try to use this guy because then with Caitlin, Brenda Song, you know, London Tipton from Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, that show from long ago in Nickelodeon. Yeah, her. Well, anyways, the Asian chick, they're trying to also ship her with Ryan because I guess, I don't know, they really want race mixing so bad. They're trying to ship the Asian chick with the inconspicuous black guy, but then also they're trying to push the freaking white chick later in the game with the black guy too. And it's like, what the frick? And then they also try to act like these dudes are super hot and that the women are super down bad for these dudes. And I'm like, what the frick are you guys pushing here? Because when you look at the dudes, you're like, these guys are not hunks. They're not attractive. What the frick is going on here? These guys, bro, they're average or below average. I mean, Ryan, they're acting like because he's a brooding guy, Mr. Loner type, that he's super desirable by women. No, you're not, bro. Like, no chick's actually into a character like Ryan, but for some reason they're really trying to push him, and they're setting up a fake archetype. But the fact that apparently he's attractive by being a brooding loner guy that sits around listening to a podcast. Okay, listen, there's a bunch of freaking dweebs that do this kind of behavior. let me tell you something. They don't get laid, okay? Just stop it. You don't get laid because you're sitting around brooding, listening to podcasts. Just make it stop. Just make it freaking stop. Love of God. Yeah, there's a very specific type of archetype, personality of guy that gets laid that women just cannot seem to help themselves. They want to get with the guy, but that's not the dudes in this game. Because then it goes on with all the other dude characters. They're all super average dudes. And then these chicks are like, oh my gosh, this piece of meat. And then next second, the chick's like, oh, but this other guy, let me kiss him and stuff. And it's like, what the, who are these chicks attracted to, bro? One second they're down bad, the next second they're just trying to get ran through by other dudes. I don't know what the frick is going on. But anyways, everybody's ugly. And everybody in this game, all these characters, they're not attractive people. They're like really run down looking types of people. A lot of them have weird faces. You couldn't find better looking people. You couldn't find chicks with larger boobs and thinner frames. You couldn't find chicks who are just objectively more attractive than the ones that we are shown. You know, freaking Emma, she's supposed to be this hot whore, and she's not hot, bro. She's like a 7. No. She's a 6. She's in between a 6 to a. She's a 6. She's a freaking 6. Okay. She doesn't make it into 7 territory. It depends on the type of guy. How freaking desperate are you? Then she's a 7. But she's not that attractive at all. And we're just sitting here. We're shipping all these random characters, and then they later on in the game they keep on pushing the freaking gay crap with Dylan. He has to be this freaking weirdo gay guy that's like, hey, what's up, dude? And you're like, no, not interested. Go away. I don't know. Again, I hate this freaking ESG bullcrap because, right, we have to have super diverse population of camp counselors for the characters in the story. For some reason within the story, we have to have a bunch of diverse people. We can't just have a bunch of white people. Okay, fine, whatever. And then on top of that, we have to make, not everyone can be straight and attractive. No, we have to have a bunch of really sub-average people, if not below average with some of them. And then on top of that, for some reason, I don't understand this. This is so stupid, dude. But for some reason, we have to throw in gay dudes? Who the frick asked for gay dudes? What the frick? Again, bro, and this is what I'm talking about. Listen, no one's purchasing your product, and they want to see, for one, a bunch of brave and beautiful diversity. No one wants to see that. But then, worst of all, is also pushing the freaking gay crap. No one wants to see that. No one cares. No one's getting wrapped up into a story because of the homosexual characters and how they really badly they want to get it on with other characters who are either straight or not so straight, whatever. Frick, I hate this game. It's so annoying. The story is terrible. It's so bad. But anyways, the premise for the story, though, again, is terrible. There's a bunch of what do you want to call them? Because there's a lot of plot inconsistencies. But then there's also just a lot of plot. It's like the writer just forgets. Like, okay, this character dies, but then they didn't die. And then this character is supposed to also be dead. Oh, and then there's these rules that when you're bitten by a freaking werewolf, you turn into a werewolf. But one of the characters later on in the game can die. Max can die to a werewolf by getting bitten in his shoulder. Okay. So he's supposed to turn into a werewolf, but he just dies. So they don't even remember their own rules. I don't understand it, but they set up these rules for how the werewolves work, and then they don't even follow them. And again, Max dies early in the game, getting slashed in the, where does he get slashed? It's in the shoulder. That's funny. He always gets hit in the shoulder. Anyways, he gets slashed in the shoulder, and he's supposed to be dead, and Laura's pulling him up stairs. And then he gets pulled away by the freaking werewolf, and apparently he doesn't get freaking mauled to death. Makes no sense. Okay. And then Laura gets, kidnapped, basically, by the cop guy, who is a really good actor, by the way, for the cop. His name's Travis in the game. Really good actor for him. Seriously. I think they say his name. I think he's Sam Raimi or whatever. Or Ted Raimi. I don't remember. Anyways, whatever. I think that's his name. But he does a great job with his performances, his deliveries. Everyone else is a really bad actor. Let's just be honest. But him, man, he knocks it out the park. His delivery within all the scenes just captures you immediately. He does a great job, bro. He is really good. But anyway, yeah, so just back to the whole thing about plot inconsistencies, though. They'll just constantly do these things, though, where random things will happen within the story. And you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, that character's totally dead, and they're not dead. And then they'll do other things in the story, and you're like, oh, well, that totally is going to get the character killed, or this bad thing, that other bad thing's gonna happen. Nothing happens. By the way, tons of QTEs in this game, and tons of choices, decisions that you will make, paths that you will take. They really don't matter all throughout the game, right? You can choose to be a douchebag to everyone, or choose to be really nice. Doesn't matter. And by the way, of course, this is one of the things I hate with these games, is that they indoctrinate you towards this idea. It's propaganda that when you're mean to people, you're less likable. Okay, that is blatantly false. Number one, depends on who you are when you say things, but also because women will just not like people for random reasons. Dudes are a lot more forgiving of each other and a lot less scrutinizing of certain aspects of other men. Guys can make jokes with each other and there won't really be any problems, but women, bro, they'll just frickin', they're frickin' retards, you know? They'll get frickin' pissed off about anything. They write characters and storytelling from the lens of women. And that means that this story is written from the lens of retardation, and it just makes the characters that much less tolerable. Oh my gosh, they're so unbearable. I can't stand them. I hate them. But anyways, you can be a douchebag to somebody and still be a likable person, or be somebody that people are cool with. And it really just depends on who you are. The way that you can just trash people or whatever. And not really even that. It's just questioning people and being ridiculing. That's totally fine. And there's plenty of people who are likable who do that. Just depends on who you are and how you understand how to dance social situations. That's it. If you understand social cues and whatever, and I don't even mean that because nowadays libtards have completely hijacked what that means. I mean, I know what I mean when I say that, but right. Anyways, just social cues outside of liberal retardation, okay? If you understand simple social dynamics, you can sit there and question people, judge people, whatever, and that doesn't make you less likable. And there's tons of people, by the way, who are very nice, and they're pushovers, and they're doormats. They're super nice to people, blah, blah, blah. In different ways, you know, this can show itself in differing layers, whatever. You can be a really nice person and be completely despicable. People don't like you. People backstab you. You might be someone that you shouldn't even be disliked, and people will dislike you. Listen, man, being nice or mean, or air quotes on mean, right? What this game thinks being mean does not have any indication on how likable you are as an individual. And that's a problem with this story, that's a problem with these characters, is that we're acting like the more you question people, or the more that you disapprove of somebody, or the less playful you are. Like, you nearly die in a scene, you nearly get attacked by, let's say, an animal or something, and another character's laughing, and you sit there and you're like, that's not cool, I nearly died. That makes you apparently unlikable saying that? No, screw you. It makes you unlikable to laugh at someone literally nearly dying. Like, what the F is this, bro? The freaking writing is so autistic and retarded, I don't get it. But anyways, depends on who you are, how nice you are, or how, let's just say something about maybe you're just really critical or something like that, whatever. Whatever air quotes on mean actually is, doesn't matter. You can be likable either way. And this is what we're talking about when we look at toxic positivity, because these characters and these stories that these writers are creating, it's always to push this idea that the more freaking positive you are, the better everything is. And that's absolutely false. And again, it's toxic positivity, just pushing it down your freaking throat. There's a time and a place to be positive, and there's a time and a place to be negative. If you don't understand that difference, that dichotomy, you're a freaking idiot. You're a freaking retard if you're sitting there and you think, oh, I need to be wicked negative, or, right, a huge skeptic about everything. Or if you sit there and you're like, I need to be a crazy optimist. Both are annoying. You gotta figure out when to apply either or. And that does not mean equal application. That just means look at the situation, determine for yourself what's the best recourse for what's going on in the present moment. Should I be negative right now? Positive right now, right? If you have a kid, and your son, let's say your son, he keeps on kicking people in the freaking leg. Should you be positive with your freaking son? If he's doing that for 3 months straight, No, you should be negative with them and be like, stop that. That's stupid. Stop that. You're being stupid. Stop that. That's what you should do. You know, you can go about it different ways, but you should be negative about that. Love of God. But this is the thing that we do, is that we act like you should always be positive. No, there's a time and place for everything, you freaking tard. Love of God. But this is what we're talking about when we look at millennials and zoomers. And with these writers, they're definitely millennials. Oh my gosh. The freaking social retardation is out the wazoo, bro. And is so suffocating, so annoying. But this is the thing too. You can tell that these writers, they come from university. Absolutely. These are like really socially autistic university students who finally, I guess what, with an English major or whatever, or I guess a film arts major, they finally graduated and now they're making their products and they're out in the workforce and they're making their crappy stories. And here's the thing, right? I don't know. We have this whole thing during the playthrough about what the frick are these qualifications. Apparently, you clearly are someone that came from university because they have a lot of autistic jokes that only someone that thinks they're super educated and smart would make. Okay, this is the kind of, listen, bro, there's a very specific way that people who go to university, the way they think, and especially libtards, the way they think and the way that they joke around, you know, being painfully unfunny and whatever, go down the list of all the problems with them. I mean, containing no wisdom within their mind. So when they write their characters, they're not funny, they're not charming, they're not charismatic, and they're not wise, and they're not smart. They have nothing going for themselves. So again, my question is, what are these qualifications? You clearly went through university, but you're completely useless. You don't know how to write a story. You don't know how to write characters. You apparently qualified to go through university. Then you qualified to pass university. Then you qualified to get this crappy job where you can't even pass the metric of performance. But then here we are. You're making this story apparently with all these gleaming qualifications, but you can't even pass the metric, the standard of success and performance. What the frick was your education good for? What was the point of your education when you're completely useless? What was the point? And that's what I'm talking about, man. Listen, you're born with it. You don't cultivate, you don't curate freaking talent. You're born with it. And then how you cultivate that born given talent, that determines how far you can go with it. But the thing is you cannot curate talent. You can't sit there. We have a video on this, by the way. It hasn't come out yet, but it will in the future. Anyways, that video is soon at some point to come out where we talk about this more in depth. But you cannot curate it. You can't politically screen for talent. You can't sit there and be like, oh, how much of a liberal are you? And then we'll determine whether or not to hire you. No, someone has talent, whether they agree with you or not. Listen, dude, there's a bunch of 1930s Germany dudes that everyone wants to act like are super bad, evil, and stupid bigots, all blah, 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 the whole thing. Some of the most intelligent men were from that era, and some of the best artists, some of the best music, some of the best storytelling comes from dudes from that era, okay? Let's just be clear about this. Your politics have nothing to do with your talent. I mean, woke tards, it's very clear at this point they don't have any talent at all. It's very clear that these freaking leftards, they're not built for it. They're terrible storytellers. And there's a bunch of reasons for that. We've gone into this many times before. But anyway, you do not choose through the curation of political zeitgeist or whatever, however you want to impose your sense of zeitgeist. You cannot impose who is talented and who is not. And there may be someone that you completely despise ideologically, and they are far more talented than you, and they will make an unforgettable story. That is the truth of the matter. And right now we're looking at the entire gaming industry, and they're pushing out conservatives. They're pushing out anyone that isn't conservative, whether they're outside of conservatism or not, or whether or not they're in the middle, or what. No, there's no middle really, but right, air quotes on middle. Anyways, you can't just push these people out and think that you're going to sustain creativity and talent. That's not how it works. You do not choose who is creative. Simple as that. And you do not choose who has talent. Simple as that. But here we are. We're seeing the outcomes many times over of what people who do not possess talent, who they are, and how they express themselves. They suck at their job. So anyways, many times throughout the story though, things will happen to characters that is just completely done away with, right? There's supposed to be this bad anus moment for the character Laura, her Sarah Connor moment, where like a freaking idiot, she gets her eye gashed out, but I don't even know how she ends up. She doesn't. Oh, she got bit off camera. That's how. Yeah. Anyway, she gets the werewolf powers. She has this freaking Sarah Connor moment though, where it's like, oh, girl boss. She loses her eye, and then she's looking in the mirror. She's patching herself up, being a freaking bad anus because, oh, look, I'm a woman. I got injured, and now I'm super cool because I got injured, and I'm patching up my eye. Then later, literally like 1 hour later in the game, in the story, she literally will fall into a pool of water. And because of her werewolf powers, don't even know how this makes sense. Their rules for werewolves make no sense. But anyways, apparently her falling into the pool of water heals her. So stupid, so dumb. Heals her of her gashed out eye. So the thing that's supposed to, right, because they made a big deal about this in the scene, the thing that's supposed to make Laura freaking boss babe is immediately removed later in the story, 1 hour later. It's so freaking lazy, so contrived, and they try so hard to push so much feminism with these women characters. They always try to push that the women are better than the men, right? That Caitlyn can shoot a gun better than Nick and Jacob. That somehow she's a better marksman than they are. What the frick? Okay, again, and they keep on trying to demean the men. Meanwhile, as they uplift the women, it cannot stand this freaking dog water feminist horse crap. They do it with the other female characters too, pushing all kinds of freaking feminism, right? These women are super strong, but like if a guy's ever coming on to a girl, then he has to be demonized, and oh, now we have to have a freaking white knight simp stand up for a woman that another guy is hitting on, because how dare a man be so predatory that he tells a girl, yo girl, I want to freaking smash it. Apparently you're wrong and evil for just wanting to have sex with a female. Get the frick out of here, you freaking woke tards. But anyways, you see this happen many times, and oh yeah, and they do it many ways with Laura too. Demeaning Max, her boyfriend, demeaning Ryan, right? She always talks down to men. This is a huge issue with feminism, and especially feminism in general, but also feminist writing, is that with women, by the way, screw you mother effing feminists, you freaking retards. Anyways, with feminists, they always, implicit within feminism is to talk down to men, is to demean men. That is an implicit element, because of course, what is feminism? It is the war, and it is the rivalry of women against men, because it's women wishing to become like men. It is women wishing to possess status and power like men. It is women wishing to denounce femininity and denounce their own womanhood, okay? And that's why, of course, feminism is blatantly against motherhood. And of course, paternity as well. It's against the union of men and women. And this is the thing that's so annoying with freaking feminists, bro, is that they want to believe that men should be responsible and they should work their butts off for the sake of women. Never for themselves, but like for the sake of women and children. But then you have on the flip side of this, that women can do everything that a man does. So you're telling me, by the way, right, it's never good enough that a man, let's say, he trains 10 years of his life to become a world chess champion. No, a woman can do that within the training of, let's say, 1 year, 2 years, if not right away. Women can do the things that men do, even though they don't put in nearly even a fourth of the effort that a man puts in. Women typically, they put in less than 10% of the efficiency and the effort of a man. But you're telling me, when men have to dedicate their entire life, and even then they're still trashed on, even when a man's a good leader, he gets trashed on by women and men alike. But you're telling me that when a guy dedicates his whole life to something to be good at it, you're telling me a woman can just pick it up and be good at it. And this is always how we treat it with feminism, is that anything a woman just suddenly does, they're good at it. And men, by default, they just suck. This is the annoying nature of feminism, where we have to always have this dual-sided coin, right? Men, in order to be good at anything as a man, you have to risk your life or sacrifice your time, your energy, any kind of fun that you could have with your life. You as a man, you have to sacrifice everything just so that you can be good at something. And somehow though, we sit there and a woman can just pick stuff up and we immediately have to just believe that she's good at it. This freaking dual-sided nature of feminism bothers the living daylights out of me. And by the way, anyone telling you that they're not a freaking feminist, they will tell you that they believe that freaking men and women, they're equal at doing anything. And that obviously, right, a guy that spends 10 years of his life or more perfecting his craft is equal to a woman who just tries. Whatever though, man, that's a whole other conversation. Let's just not get lost in the weeds there. We can go much longer on this, but at this point, I would have to make it a separate topic video. So we're not going to do that here. The point is, with this story though, the women are always pedestalized. And that's because the freaking writer for the story, writers, there's multiple writers. These dudes are freaking simps. And they're also beta cucks. They're beta cuck simp feminists. So anyways, dude, we go through the story though, and the women are so freaking unbearable. And I mean, because there's many other female characters later on that are just, they're so annoying, and they always talk down to men, right? The Travis character, the cop guy that you see in the beginning of the game, Travis gets spoken down to by his mother. He reports to her that his sister's dead, Kaylee, and she sits there and she just starts yelling at him, cursing at him, and you're like, what the frick is going on? And he's not disrespecting her, he's just taking it, and it's like, what the frick is this, man? All the women in this game, Emma, Caitlin, who's the other chick? Abigail a little bit, but then Laura, they all disrespect men, one way or another. I cannot freaking stand this dog water horse crap. Outside of that, the story's terrible, right? The pacing's terrible, the dialogue's terrible, the editing between scenes, right? When you're choosing what your dialogue line should be for a certain scene, the editing is so weird and so off. And it's because there's so many different paths. There's not really that many paths, but they alter the paths just enough that they have to make these strange little edits, right? It's like choice A, choice B, choice C, whatever. So you have all these different choices, and they make very small alterations. It's not even a lot. But the issue is that you'll pick a certain reply, and a character will either have a canned response, or there will be this choppy editing between when you spoke, you made your response to that character, and when that character responds back to you. So there's weird, awkward silences sometimes, or just weird responses where it doesn't matter what your character says. The character that you spoke to is supposed to react a certain way despite what you say. And sometimes they make it so vague so that they basically have to put in less work. So you could have said something that was nice or something that was mean, and the character's going to react in a very vague way, right? Like, oh, okay. Very uninspired. But anyways, dude, the whole story basically is about some old chick. She's running a weird circus kind of show, and her son is trapped in a cage as a kind of circus act. He's Silas, the living dog, or whatever, dog boy, and apparently he was the first werewolf, and I guess that's part of why she has a show for him being a dog boy. I don't know exactly that part of the story. I don't understand it, but anyways, Kaylee and I believe Caleb, Travis's siblings or his nephews, whatever. Anyway, they end up accidentally burning Silas because they wanted to set him free, and they wanted to make a distraction by setting a fire, sets a whole forest on fire, kills Silas, he burns alive. Old woman, who's basically a hag, witch kind of chick, she is super bent up about it, upset, and so she has a vendetta, a kind of existential vendetta against them, and Silas lives forever on after that as a werewolf, and he ends up biting Caleb and Kaylee and Chris Hackett being the head camp counselor, and it ends up turning almost the entire family into werewolves. So then that comes down to you being the camp counselors, blah blah blah. Some of you get bit, some of you don't, and it comes down to you have to kill the werewolf that bites you in order, and it goes in descending order. So whoever bites you, they're ultimately kind of the father werewolf, which means that they have to die in order for your curse of becoming a werewolf is lifted. So if you kill the werewolf at the top of the chain, then everybody's curse is removed. And that's the entire story, is that you're holding out until you can kill Silas because he's the head werewolf of everybody. Anyways, dude, it's a lame ending. I don't really have any thoughts though about it. because it's just the story the whole way to that point is lame. It sucks. It's boring. I don't like it in any way whatsoever. But I will say this, the writing is so bad with these games. Admittedly, bro, it's way more fun just roasting these games as you play them than it is to actually play these games. I don't even know who the frick thinks, though, that this is good writing, right? I don't know what the frick happened to that person to think that this is good writing. The Quarry. And also the other games by Supermassive, Until Dawn, the anthology series that they have, all of their writing is trash, all of their characters are trash. They typically do a decent job at the beginning at setting up the stage for their stories, but then they're so bad at executing the intrigue of a story. And by the way, I could write a way better story than these freaking clowns. I mean, love of God, the pacing. How do you screw up the pacing this bad, man? Freaking horrible. I don't know what it is they're doing, but they're so bad at their freaking jobs. And this is where I have to ask the question again. Apparently, you pass for the qualifications of making the story, but then you're terrible at your job. So the question is, what the frick are the qualifications good for? If you're bad at your job, then why do qualifications matter? And this is just where it comes down to, man. You have to hire talented people, and if you don't, you're just gonna have terrible products. And that's what's been going on with these freaking movie games, is that they suck. There's so many writers that can do a better job than this. I mean, not like there's that many, but the point is that there's enough talented men out there that they could make a great story. I don't know what it is that we're doing here where we have to hire these trashy writers. And they're all feminists and they're all libtards. Okay, listen. We've proven this for enough years now. Liberals are terrible, they're not creative, and they cannot execute good storytelling. Start hiring people who are different. I don't care if you think their politics is unacceptable. Oh my gosh, you're such a bigot, you're such an ist, a phobe, whatever. Don't care, bro. You need to start hiring people that can get the freaking job done, that can actually justify getting your product sold. Listen, bro, would I tell you buy this game? For one, why would you even consider buying this game? Honestly, just watch me freaking roast the game and also seethe in the later section of my playthrough on the playthrough channel. Just go check out my freaking playthrough, because what the frick are you picking up the game for? Trashy writing, trashy characters, trashy story. You will be wasting your time and your money picking up this game, and yes, I regret playing this game. And by the way, please, please give the women larger boobs, and please, please give us more attractive females to look at for these games, bro. Why does everyone have to look so freaking average and sub-average? Love of God, I want to see freaking triple G breasts on a freaking hot chick. But right now, we're just not getting that. Gosh, she's being stalked by her menopause's past. Or sorry, her menopause's future.
Where are you?
She's about to... No, I'm not looking. I can't. I can't with the old lady. I just can't. It's not even that scary. I just can't with the old chick. Oh!
What's wrong? Talk to me, you alright? Jesus Christ, you're all banged up.
No, there's something out there. Like, there's noises everywhere.
Just take a few breaths, just breathe. It's okay, it's the woods, there's a lot of stuff out there. Just freak yourself out.
Listen,
Especially if
Max.
you're hurt.
Can we just get out of here, please?
Of course, yeah, let's go.
Oh my gosh. And all I want is for Brenda Song to give somebody a blowjob, because I'm bored. I'm not even that down bad. I'm bored. Hey, what's up, girl? What's up? Can I zoom in? Can I zoom in? Yo, girl, what's up? Come on, just just let me get some. Just let me get a little bit. Oh my god. This is falling apart. Oh my gosh. Come on, girl. Just let me put my hand there or something.
Jake, bags, focus.
Come on, girl. Just a little slap. Just a little slap. Just a little slide down the butt crack. Come on, girl. What's up? Anyways, female behavior, property damage. Let's go.
Ow! Mother! Hubbard!
Why did it work the first time? By the way, split those freaking cheeks open.
What you done to your foot there? That looks painful.
Shut up.
Yeah, you're not built like a man. His pinky toe could have broken that door. Ancient Chinese white man secret.
Done. Whoa. Whoa.
And if he was black, he would have shot down the door. That's why I don't trust doors. Everything should be a window. And I mean everything.
What? What is it?
The front door to every freaking house should be a window.
And, code.
That's the amount of bodies you're going to have by the end of this game. 7739. You massive whore.
Okay. I'm done.
So you're really gonna keep the gun, huh?
Yeah. For bears.
What else is she gonna do, bro?
Okay. Well,
She's gonna choose the bear over you.
Back to camp.
She would rather shoot you, bro. Because she's a female. Female decision making. Oh, there's a man in the room. Okay, dead. Why? Nobody knows. Just female decision making. Hence and therefore, why? Spread her cheeks.